Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video, but I figure it'd be good for documentation purposes, or maybe if I can help someone out. So as you guys can see, the car is taken apart. Got the catch cans right here, they're all loose. Got the top mount intercooler removed, and I got the intake disassembled. So the reason for that is because the car has been acting up, and when I say acting up, I mean the air fuel trims. So if you're like me, you monitor the AF1 learning, your long-term fuel trims, and your AF1 correction or AF correction 1, one of those two, your short-term fuel trims. And lately I've been seeing the AF learning 1 number spike to an average of -20 to -25 during idle. So that usually is an indication that there's a leak somewhere, and I gotta figure it out. I gotta find it. So last night I was messing around with the intake, and I noticed that every time I wiggled it, so I'm gonna get it right here. Oh, and check out the new workbench at the Home Depot. This thing is dope. But yeah, got the cob intake filter right here, and I was just moving it around to see what position would get the values to drop. And as you guys can see right here, I have some markings on the intake tube itself. One is closer to the edge than the other because that first mark is when the car was happy, and then as soon as it started acting up over time, I had to move it back to find another happy spot. So I don't know what it is, but lately the car has been acting up, like I said, and it's been running like crap. And yes, I already cleaned both MAF and MAP sensors. Actually made a video about that. One of my first videos on this channel was the cleaning process for that, because that's what fixed the issues the first time around. So now I'm just taking everything apart. I'm about to take off the skid plate and go under there and see if there's any loose connections, but I'm pretty sure that the issue is this intake. This cob intake is very finicky, and it works fine for a few months, but then out of nowhere it just surprises you, and all of a sudden you're having air fuel trim issues. What is that? No! Oh, that's coffee. How the hell did I get to wipe that up real quick? Scared me. Jesus, got another issue. But yeah, long story short, I believe it is this intake, the Cobb Big SF intake. All over the forums, I've seen the same issues with this, and it's one of the main issues that come up with this intake is the air fuel trims because of how sensitive it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take apart the car, more of it under there, and I'm gonna see if there's any leaks or there's any loose connections that I could find. And I already cleaned the MAF extension cable that comes with the intake. I already cleaned that part, and I even ordered another one to see if that's the issue. So I'm waiting for that to ship in before I can try it out. But I figure I wanna get as much done as I can, eliminate any of the issues that I could possibly find, and then hopefully it cleans up the air fuel trims. That said, about this intake, I sourced a Grimspeed Stealth Box intake. And yes, just to be honest with you guys, I'm tired of these damn issues. I'm just ready for something new. And you know, if it is the intake, then hopefully this helps you guys out for anyone who's having the same issues. But yes, I am that confident that it is the intake that's the issue. So the only reason I'm hesitating on doing that is because it does require a retune. However, yes, I will purchase one anyway. Actually, I'm meeting up a seller who has a brand new kit available, and I'm gonna take that off of his hands and then hold on to it. And if I can't fix the issues with the car as is now, I'm gonna swap out the intake and definitely get a retune for that. And I did already double check the connections for the catch can. Sometimes those leak and cause issues, but this is all good. Everything from the top, everything all in there is secure and well. And now, like I said, I'm gonna go into the bypass valve and the turbo inlet and everything like that and check that spot out. So yeah, this isn't meant to be a tutorial video or anything like that. Like I said, I just wanted to document this process and try to help out anybody who is having the same issues. So I'll be sure to update the video as much as I can. So consider this more of an FYI vlog if your car is having air fuel trim issues. So yes, sorry I'm everywhere today. I just got off of work and I wanted to work on the car right away. So like I said, I'm gonna take apart more stuff on the bottom, and I am gonna buy that Grimspeed intake. I won't install it, I just want to have it in case that Cobb intake is the issue. The MAF sensor harness should get here in the next couple days. I'll be sure to plug that in, and like I said, I'll just document everything as much as I can, and we'll go from there. All right, so the good news is I found the issue, and the bad news is I was right. So I got the intake right here, and oh, there it is. You can see it right there. It's a lump. I don't know how this happened. I never dropped it. I never hit anything, and I don't know how long that's been there as well, but it's not, it's flat right there. So look, that would explain air fuel issues. I mean, I think this is safe to say that it was the issue. Now, look, I didn't mean to bash Cobb. Obviously, they're a huge company, great company with great products, but you know, for something that costs, I don't know, what are these brand new, like $450, I would expect a little bit of better quality. So yeah, I'm a little upset over that part. You know, I don't know where this came from. Like I said, regardless, it shouldn't be happening. This thing is like paper thin. And if you look inside, if you guys can see that lump, I don't know if you can see it, but right there, here, I think that's enough to impact the airflow. So what I'm gonna do is definitely gonna buy that intake tonight, the Grimspeed one, and then I'm gonna try to straighten this out as much as I can, put it back on the car. Yeah, at this point, I think I'm over it, man. I want something new. I'm glad I'm glad I found the issue. I'm gonna see if I can straighten this out and then put everything back together. If you have any air fuel issues, definitely check your intake. Obviously, mine is right here. And who knows, it could have came like this from shipping. I don't know what caused this. Okay, so I rounded this off as best as I can. I'll probably hit the top side again, but I'm gonna get ready to put everything back. All right, I'm gonna head out and get this intake rolling in the roller. No joke though, it is kind of nice driving an automatic every now and then. But yeah, we're about 25 minutes out. After that, I'm just gonna put the car back together. Obviously, I can't run the intake without a retune, so I'll take care of that next. So I'm just doing a little vlog. You can say what's up.
I just opened that yesterday when I sent you a picture of it.
Oh, the MAF extension cable.
There's your coupler.
Hold on, I had to get that on camera. Say it one more time.
Yeah, so I literally ordered that lip right after I watched your video.
That's so fucking cool.
Like, I was like, good quality, sure, bring it.
Okay, mission success. We got the Grimspeed intake. Let's get home and I'm gonna finish putting the car back together. Just got back and here is the Grimspeed intake. Everything is brand new. He said he just opened it and looked at it, but yeah, it's unused and looks like everything's in there. I'm pretty sure he showed me. So thank you again, Sky, if you're watching this. I appreciate it, man. So now gotta get back to fixing this thing and I'll check back when I can. Okay, I pretty much got everything put together except the skid plate, which I will put on at a different time, but now I'm just kind of anxious because I'm getting ready to start it. And if the numbers are still out of whack, then I don't know what else I'm gonna do, but I'm just gonna go for it, I guess. So this is a true cold start. Haven't started the car since yesterday or the day before that, so here it goes. Fuck. Okay, I don't know if I didn't plug in something, but it just it stalled out on us. So let's go check out something. Damn it. Maybe I forgot to plug in the MAF. I'm pretty sure I plugged it in. It's plugged in. So I don't know, man. I'll try it again in a few minutes. I'm just gonna look over everything. Oh, sucks. Okay, so let's try this again. So the last time I shut off the car, it was on idle for a little while with really bad AF learning, and I just reset the ECU because if I fix the issue and the ECU was still going off of where it was at before I fixed it, then it makes sense that it is running like crap right now. So I just checked the codes before I reset the ECU, and it said the system was too rich, so extreme fuel trims. So let's try this again after resetting the ECU. Please, 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 please. There it goes. So it's idling fine. Right after I reset the ECU. Yeah, it just died out on us again. I don't know what the hell I should do next. Should I reflash it or? So I'm gonna try to reflash my other map. Actually, I'm gonna try to start it again, see if it just idles. It won't idle normally, but I think it's from all the fuel that was left over last time. I don't know, man. I could be making stuff up. It's a little better. And it's idling solid. I'll close the window, it smells like crap in here. I guess I'm just gonna let it idle. At least right now it's not stalling out. Just keep it running, I guess. Oh man, I'm so freaking anxious. I hate this damn feeling. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. Still revving a little high just because it's still it was from a cold start, so I'm just letting it warm up, and I'm waiting for the RPMs to drop, and I'm watching these numbers right here. So far, it's looking better. Like I said, this AF learning number before I found the issue was -30, and it even hit -40, and I shouldn't have let it run that long. So far, what I've done after I started it and it stalled, I reset the ECU. Started it up, it stalled again, then I started it up again, and now it's seems like it's idling fine as the engine is getting hotter. So hopefully it stays this way. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. But yeah, I'm just gonna sit in here until it's fixed, I guess. Okay, so it just finished warming up. The RPMs dropped to really, really low, and then AF learning hit -45. So I'm gonna let off the throttle a little bit just to see how it acts. Yeah, it's not sounding good. I don't know if there's another leak somewhere. But yeah, it wants to drop. I don't know if I should reflash to my other tune, but I think there might be a leak somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna go check out what's going on in the engine, and then I will report back. Okay, so I think I may have found a potential issue, and that's probably the map sensor. So the map sensor is the one on top of the manifold right here, and as you can see, it's filled with gunk. So I'm gonna clean it again, and then wait a couple minutes for it to dry, and then I'm gonna plug it back in and see if that works. Hopefully this fixes the issue. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it, hit it with some map sensor cleaner, and then we'll go from there. And yes, I did clean this very recently, like a couple days ago, in hopes that it'll fix the air fuel issues, but it didn't work, obviously. So just from the last couple days, it got super gunky. Okay, so we just cleaned the map sensor, waited a couple minutes. We're about to start it again and see if she stays on. So again, please stay on, please work, please work. I'm running out of ideas, and I'm tired. My voice is faded. Let's go. Okay, that was a really, really smooth start. That's too good. All right. So we're just gonna let the RPMs drop on its own. Once it's done doing the cold start cycle, whatever that is called, I can't think of it right now, then, and if it doesn't die, then I think it's safe to say that we fixed it. But let's give it a couple minutes. Man, my heart is pounding right now. Okay. I mean, it wants to just, I don't know. It's feeling a little rough. I could just be imagining it. Oh, here it goes. Starting to drop. Okay, it choked a little bit. Then I had to tap the gas. Went down to negative. Here it goes again. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. It keeps stalling. Switched over to my E-Tune, and it's been 3 minutes so far. Cold start procedure is done, and it is running fine. I'm monitoring these two, the AVCS in left and AF Sense 1 ratio. And what I did, according to Anthony Ambot in one of his videos, is that you have to wait until this hits 0 or 1, and you have to wait till this number moves just like that. And after this is after reflashing. After those two are accomplished, then that means that you can go and drive the car since everything's reset, and it should be ready to drive. But so far so good. I don't want to jinx it. It's idling fine, it feels smooth, and it hasn't died. So I'm gonna tap the gas just a little bit. Hopefully this works. Hopefully it doesn't die out on me, but yeah, we'll see. Good morning. It's actually the following day, and I'm in a lot better mood than last night. I'm gonna go ahead and start the car and see if any other issues arise, but for now, it seemed fine from last night. I just got really tired and I needed to sleep. But yeah, I try to clean up around here as well. I don't know, I can't sleep with a dirty garage, you know, after you work on the car. I don't know if that's just me, but I had to clean up what I could. But yeah, I'm gonna start the car, see if the issues are gone, and then I will close out the video and give you guys my final thoughts and everything I've discovered so far on how to fix or discover this leak that I had. Okay, here we go again. Cold start. Take it out for a little spin. I'll explain it all later, but I ended up reflashing to my other map, and then I flashed it again to the one I use regularly. So I'll get into all of this when I close out the video, just so you guys can follow along. All right, been a couple minutes. So I'm not a tuner or anything like that. So all the info that I share with you guys is from what I read online and just doing personal research. And I've been following Clint Sommerfelt with CS Tuned on the forums on Facebook, and the dude is smart. He shares information nonstop, and I follow along to see if any of the stuff he shares would help me out. And in this case, it did. I saw a comment that he left on one of the forums, and you know, he said to subtract these two numbers right here, whenever this pops up, subtract these two, and that's your actual fuel trim. But yeah, like I said, all the information I get is mainly stuff from online, and I take those concepts and apply it to my car to see if it helps. Okay, so RPMs are dropping, and that means AF learning should start to appear. There it goes, and it is not negative 30 or 20-ish like yesterday or last night, so that's a good thing. Switch this real quick back to dam, and then like this one to be the boost. All right, so last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a couple wide open throttles, see if I can hit full boost. If I can't hit full boost, obviously, then there's a leak somewhere down there. But from these numbers right here, it's been about 6 minutes and the numbers are still looking good, and it's idling smoothly again. So I'm gonna do a couple pulls and see if I can hit full boost, and then report back and close out the video. All right, so I think I fixed the issue, guys. So a few days ago, every time I'd accelerate and then decelerate, the AF learning would shoot up to negative 20, negative 25, and at times negative 28. Really bad numbers, and the idling was rough. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of gas and then decelerate, just to show you guys that bottom left number. Sorry, it's a little shaky. All right, so, and yeah, look at that. All right. Alright guys, I just got back from a 20-something minute drive and I think we fixed the issue. Good thing is I was able to hit full boost. This is a Surgeline tuning Pro Tune set to 21 PSI and just went over a little bit, but that's totally fine. It's still within the discrepancies. And the two things I was concerned about are looking good. I know that's showing 7, but the minimum and maximum is still within the range. I think Cobb says plus or minus 15. I personally start looking into it if it exceeds plus or minus 15 mark. In this case, even though I did a few wide open throttle pulls, it didn't go below 11.72 and 7.81, so it's all within spec, and the fact that they're so low right now while I'm in idle is definitely a good sign. Give it a quick rev. Everything is looking good. I don't think it's leaking anymore, and I think it's safe to say that it's a mission success. So I'm gonna close out the video. I got a couple things to explain about the Cobb intake and kind of retract some of the things I said earlier in the video. I know I don't have to edit that stuff in here, but I said what I said, and yeah, I'm gonna correct it. So let's go and close out the video. I'm just gonna do a recap of everything I just did in this video. So first, the reason what made me even look into this issue and why I tore up the car is because the last couple weeks the car has been kind of sputtering, rough idle, you know, all the signs that it has a leak somewhere. And when I monitored the AF learning and AF correction, the AF learning would hit -20 and -25 and at one point -28-ish. So these numbers typically don't bother me so much, but with the rough idles and all this stuff I just described, bad gas mileage and all that stuff, in addition to those numbers, made me want to look into the issue or whatever issue that may be. So that's where all of this is coming from. Just really not so favorable numbers on the access port. So with that said, it was hitting boost fine, dam never dropped. Feedback knock was, you know, the typical 1.0 whatever for my map. And so I started off by playing around with the intake filter placement on the Cobb Big SF intake. That's my #1 thing to go to, is that. And usually if I adjust it, tilt it here and there, it tends to fix the issue. But this time around, it wasn't working for some reason. And no matter what I did, no matter how I placed it, it just wasn't changing, and it was still running like crap. And the numbers were still bad. Actually, let me back up. The first thing I always do is check the MAF and the MAP sensors. The MAF sensor is connected to your intake tubing, and the MAP sensor is above the intake manifold. So I check those to see if they're clean. I clean them, and then that usually fixes the issue with the intake filter placement. But this time around, it wasn't working. So this is where I kind of got frustrated with the whole Cobb intake situation. So I'd like to go into that a little later, but I'm just gonna go through the exact steps that I took on how to fix this issue. And I also cleaned the intake as well, let it dry and all that stuff. But after that didn't work, then I knew that there was a potential leak. Usually the numbers on the access port, the AF learning and AF correction, are indicators of a potential leak somewhere. And so I knew I had to find it since all the other stuff that I did was not working. So this is where all the frustration came in. So since that didn't fix the issue, I went ahead and I took the top mount intercooler off. Usually there's that coupler on the bottom. Man, that's a pain to install if you ever remove it. And if you know, then you know how hard that can be. So I took that off, I cleaned it, and checked to see if there's any holes on the coupler or anything like that. Removed the charge pipe as well, since it's connected to the top mount intercooler. And basically I just took all of that stuff out and I inspected it. Now, before I found out the actual issue, I blamed Cobb's intake for the spike in numbers, just because I've had this experience before and it was due to the intake. I understand I spoke out of frustration. I'd like to retract my comments I made about Cobb making a crappy intake, because it's not a crappy intake. It's very sensitive. It has to be specifically placed on there so that your numbers run fine. I made some comments saying I'm going to switch over to Grimspeed, but bottom line is I did buy a Grimspeed intake, as you guys just saw in the earlier parts of the video, and I'm gonna hold on to that for now when I'm ready for a retune. But I think eventually I will get a retune. I'm just, at this point, I'll get to it, but I'm done with the intake. And so back to the story, I dug around, checked the bypass valve connections because I installed that nameless performance bypass valve. Checked the Grimspeed cast aluminum inlet, the turbo inlet, no issues, everything was on there. All the tubes, the clamps were secured, couplers were on there. So I eliminated that as a potential issue for these leaks. So after that, I pulled off the intake, and that's where I found the issue. So again, I'd like to apologize to Cobb for making those comments. I know I could have edited the video and cut that part out, but you know, like I said, I said what I said, and I don't want to lie to you guys or anything like that. But yeah, so pulled out the intake and I found the issue. So of course, I got frustrated with the intake. I blamed it, and I mean, I'm not wrong, but at the same time, I didn't cool off enough to think what may have caused the intake tubing to bend like that. And I remember now, very recently, I think it was a few weeks ago actually, I went under there and I tightened the clamps to the intake. I may have over tightened it and caused it to flatten and bend. So this is why they say do not over tighten your clamps. I can speak from experience that it will cause you more issues than good. And in this case, that happened to me. I had 2 clamps on the intake coupler for the big SF intake tubing, but in the process of tightening that second clamp, at some point, I don't know exactly when, I most likely over tightened it, which caused it to bend. Now, like I said, I apologize for what I said, but I compared Cobb's intake to Grimspeed's Stealth Box intake tubing, and I kid you not, that tubing from Grimspeed is at least twice as thick as the one from Cobb. It's a lot more solid, and it feels heavy. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I expected a little more from Cobb, considering that intake is around $450 or something like that. So, you know, it's one of the most expensive ones on the market. I guess I expected a little more quality and more solidness to the material they use. But again, I take fault for what happened to it and how it bent. Most likely over tightened the clamps to the couplers, which caused it to leak. So my bad on that. I learned from this mistake and now I'm moving on. So I didn't have enough time to research this, but I think there's a difference between resetting your ECU and reflashing, because since I reflashed to that different map, the car was running perfectly. And then I reflashed back to the Surgeline tune, my Pro Tune, and it was smooth as can be. It was perfect. So if you're a tuner, or if you know a lot about ECU things and stuff like that, let me know in the comments. Is a reflash different from resetting the ECU? Because in my experience, I think it is. You know, I'm making this on the fly, so I didn't get enough time to research this, but after resetting the ECU, the values were still there. It was still running like crap. Yeah, let me know in the comments below if you know anything about stuff like that. But like I said, from my experience, I think there is a difference between the two. And it seemed to fix my issues when I reflashed. So if your car is having air fuel issues, and I'm talking specifically about the AF1 learning and AF1 correction, first check your MAP sensor and check your MAP sensor and your intake filter placement. If you make sure that your sensors are clean and your intake filter placement is spot on, and that doesn't fix your issue, move on to the next thing. And if you don't find the leak with the coupler, it's most likely, like with my situation, a hardware issue. So after you find the broken hardware and you fix it and you're still having air fuel issues, my suggestion would be to reflash your map. So I know not a lot of folks have multiple maps, so I'm not quite sure how to handle that part. Again, if you're a tuner watching this, or if you're experienced with ECUs and reflashing and all that stuff, what would be the best solution to reflash a map if you don't have a secondary map to run? Like I have a Pro Tune and E-Tune, so how would the person with one main map reflash another map? Would they flash back to the stock map, the stage 0 map, and then switch over to the current map? Because resetting the ECU is not enough. So that's that. And if you have a smoke tester, just disregard everything I just said and do that first, because I don't have one here, and I'm sure a lot of people don't have smoke testers either. That's why we go through the manual process of trying to find that leak ourselves. This is more dedicated to my car. It could be different for your car. Just keep that in mind if you're trying to diagnose any potential issues. But yeah, always speak to your tuner and be mindful of their time. Those people are super busy all the time, and be mindful of that. But yes, I apologize for rambling. I feel like it's just scattered everywhere, and I'm usually not like this, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys in the next video.